Hello everyone, now I'm back with the next concept of your Companies Act 2013. Now in this we are going to talk about your most important part of the company is your Memorandum of Association and Articles of Association. Now Memorandum of Association, this is defined under section 2 subsection 56. Now let's understand what they want to say about a memorandum. Now a memorandum of association is nothing but an association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of company law or of any other act is going to be called as memorandum. Now for simply, I just want to tell always my student, your memorandum is nothing but as equivalent to a Bible or a Quran or a Gita or any other most important document for a particular religion, or from when we are talking about country's law, it is nothing but your Constitution of India. So that is how important a memorandum of association is for a company. So this particular memorandum can equivalent to be a Bible of a company. Now, why am I emphasizing and saying it is equivalent to a Bible? Because a memorandum of association can never be altered and can never be, beyond which the capacity is not having by any of the person when they are functioning in the company. That means to say simply, they are required. That means to say a member, an employee, a director, your employees, all these people, when they are functioning within the premises of the company or rules of the company, they have to be within the circle of your memorandum. Memorandum is going to be called to be as a circle within which the company has to deal with all their activities. Now, what are these particular areas which is going to be covered by your memorandum of association? Now in all there are 6 clauses under which please remember students, there are 6 clauses under which your particular memorandum of association has been highlighted into. Now what are these particular 6 clauses? First is your name clause, second is your registered office clause, third is your object clause, fourth is your liability clause, fifth is your capital clause, and finally your subscription clause or your association clause. Again I am repeating: name, registered office, liability, capital, your objects, and finally your subscription. These are the 6 clauses when we are talking about your memorandum of association. Now these clauses are nothing but when we are incorporating our company, before the procedure for going ahead to the registrar, I am required to mention about all these 6 areas. I am going to inform the ROC, okay, what is the possible name I am going to give to my company. Okay, so now moving ahead, now be it a promoter or be it any other person who is going for the registration to the ROC, he is going to first ask you, okay, what is going to be the name of your company? So then we have to search for it, and then he will search for it, okay, whether it is in existence or not. If it is in existence, we have to change it. Then if it is equivalent to a freedom fighter or any other celebrity, ऐसा कुछ तो नहीं है ना, फिर वो चेक करेंगे, फिर फाइनली आपको अप्रूवल दिया जाएगा, yes you can keep this particular name as your name of the company. Second, when we are talking about your registered office clause, now this is very important. Why? Because from where are you going to communicate with your people? That is where, if a person is having been a employee or an employer or a director or a particular creditor or investor or a shareholder, if there is any issue, to which particular registered office are we have to required to communicate. So that is where a particular registered office is very important when it comes to the company. Third part, object. Now this is very important. As we are required to have a goal, similar manner a company is going to have a particular goal, and that is called to be as objective. Why am I starting a company? What is the requirement? When people are going to invest in my company, then what is the procedure for that? Why am I required to invest in your company? What benefit I will get? So that is where how and what are the objectives. Now this is very important. See, you can make alteration, you can make some addition, but complete change in these particular documents are not allowed. So if my objective is there, today I am keeping some object and second day I am changing, third day again I am changing, that is not allowed. And that is why it is said a memorandum of association cannot be changed until unless a proper procedure has been done. A meeting has to be conducted, proper resolution has to be passed, proper approval has to be taken by the authorities, proper notice has to be given, and then further we have to move towards the ROC and the permission has to be seeked. After this only we can change these particular clauses, and specific even I am talking about your object class also. Now the fourth part, capital clause. Now each company is required to raise capital from the public. If they want to raise, they will have to give the information. How much are they taking it from the public? How much investment are they going to do it in their business? How much they have get it? How much where they are getting from the bank or for the other investors? How much the public is going to give? Each and every particular information has to be given, because so that in future if I am running away from the money of others, then so I will have to be cautious, and at the same time the ROC or the other authorities are going to keep on observing my activities. Next, when I am talking about your liability clause, see, even at the same time, how much is the liability towards your public, towards your, see, even similar to your capital, even the liability will be recognized only if you are mentioning about it in the very much clarified manner. Last is your subscription clause. How much are you going to give for the public subscription? How much you are expecting from the public and how much you have received from the public? Now these are the important areas where, so that even the authenticity can be observed, all your activities are within the limitations or not, and that is why a memorandum plays a very important role. The next document which is going to give the recognition to the company is your articles of association. The articles of association is also nothing but similar to the definition of your memorandum. It also says that articles of association of a company as originally been framed or as required been altered and applied for the pursuance of any previous act or the law which has come into force. So your articles of association consist of all those minute information from which the activities of the companies are being observed. Now for that matter, I can say number of shares, on value of the shares, calls on shares, your allotment of shares, lien of shares, forfeiture of shares, alteration in the capital, all these minute informations are being given in your articles of association. So if any person requires to know about anything, what is preliminary adoption, what is your adoption, number of values of the shares which are being initiated each and every year, or what it was been initiated in the initial year, all these things are been including your articles of association. Now having said that, I just want to highlight on one thing is your articles of association or memorandum of association which cannot be altered, which cannot be any activity which has been done beyond the scope of your articles or memorandum of association will be called to be as ultra vires. Ultra means beyond and vires means to say power, beyond the powers. Please students do remember, ultra vires means you're beyond the powers. So anything which has been activity done by directors or employees or any person done beyond the scope of the authority will be called as ultra vires. And as per that ultra vires, now that is a doctrine of ultra vires or rule regarding your ultra vires, which says any particular activity done beyond the scope of your authority, you will be held personally liable for the same. No doubt we have talked about your corporate will. Remember student, now in that company was held liable, but the company says, see, each and every activity company itself is not doing. No doubt it is an independent person, but in the name of the company someone else is doing. So let's lift up the corporate will, and that is where we will see what are the activities being performed beyond the scope of their authority and who has done, and whomsoever has done will be held personally liable for the same. Now something similar to your ultra vires, there is your next concept of your doctrine of constructive notice. Now, this concept of your doctrine of constructive notice states that, see, no doubt your memorandum and articles of association has given the power to the law or to the other authorities to file a complaint regarding the ultra-vires act of your companies. But at the same time, law says, see, the memorandum and articles are the public document. It can easily be observed by any person who is coming before the company to do any sort of transaction. So law says we are not always going to see. ROC has the right, he can anytime ask for the fees and give the copies of the company documents to the third person. So it is the requirement, it is the duty of the third person, whenever they are going to do the transaction, they have to give and take all those particular documents and observe for the activities of the company. Later on, if you will observe and you will say the company has done a fraud, it was your duty also to observe. So this doctrine of constructive notice gives a part of benefit to the company or its directors or the members who are working, that they will be saved from any such kind of activity even if they have performed something wrong. Why? Because it was the duty of the third person also, whenever he is coming ahead to do a transaction, to inquire it and first come ahead. Now, to this benefit, there is one more doctrine which was been initiated, and that was your doctrine of indoor management. Now, over here again the protection has been given to the public, and it has been stated by the law. Listen, yes, public needs to be vigilant, but if anything manipulation is done within the activities are performed within the management, then how the third party is going to understand? All whatever is mentioned in your MOA or AOA can be observed, but there are few of the activities which has been internally performed. Who is going to liable for the same? And that is where the public are being protected against the indoor management. And it has been said yes, in the end we will observe whether all those particular precautions or cautiousness was been taken by the third person was viable or not. And if they have taken and still the company internally has done something wrong, in that case the indoor management law will be applicable to them. Now with this we have finished up with the concept of your MOA and AOA. Thank you.